My flight to Australia got delayed, but I'm finally here. Yay. I made it. I'm very happy to be back covering one of my favorite shows, but we'll see what I think about it. Ooh. You know what these two think about it. They've been here the whole time. Anyway, hello, and welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality. And you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm Logan Murphy. Say something gay. Gay. I am currently just drinking water because I forgot to grab caffeine before this recording. Will that end up being a grave error on my part? Probably. But alas, we're drinking water. But if I was drinking anything else, it would maybe be in a cut mug. But she's always here. I don't have Lana's cool flashing lights, but it's a panel full of cup mugs. It's the Screamo version. I don't know. And you panel full of cup mugs. Maybe I didn't need caffeine after all. This is so much better than earlier today when I had to film an entire podcast episode on my phone. That was bad. But you can get your cup mug and all of our other merch at lanagcreations.etsy.com. Link is down in the description below. And we do ship internationally and domestically within the United States. So there are no excuses. And today, we're back looking at Australia. So,
Well, I'm David Healy, the Survivor superfan, and I know how to spell. I definitely know how to spell. But I am drinking.
Everyone knows how to spell, David.
There we go. I was waiting for that.
But there was a long pause, so I was echoing the long pause.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Low Garrick.
Don't you dare.
I'm drinking water.
And my name is Jack. I'm the resident game designer of the panel. And my Valentine this year is the paranoia that decided to sweep through the tribe the minute they swapped, because, oh my God, it got worse and worse every single day.
Oh, God. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, at least this week the panel looks a little bit closer and less diverse, echoing how Australian Survivor normally casts their show.
Mm-hmm.
I said what I said. It's normally it's normally all white people, okay?
Yeah.
Anyway, it is week 3 of Australian Survivor. Titans versus Rebels. I finally caught up on all the episodes. I've been very busy. Did I watch 7 episodes in 2 days? Perhaps. But,
healthy.
You know, so healthy. The epitome of health, if you ask me. We're going to talk about episodes 7, 8, and 9. We got a swap, and like Jack alluded to, paranoia. Rampant paranoia. But before we do, make sure to subscribe if you have not already, because we are here almost all the time giving you almost all things reality TV, and we've got a lot more reality TV coming. Later this week, we've got a cast assessment for Survivor 46. Ooh, 2 Survivor seasons at once. What are we going to do? Die. And we've got other things on the way as well. We've got 2 other channels as well with Almost All Things Drag and Almost All Things Eurovision Song Contest. So make sure to go check those out as well. Hit the subscribe over there, because they're actually 3 different channels. Some people seem to think that if you subscribe to one, you subscribe to all 3. That is false. I wish that was the case, but that's not the case. So we greatly appreciate all the support over here. If you would like to become a member of the Cup and join the tea room, the link will be on our main channel. So go hit the join button over there, or join our Patreon. Same content, different platform. Both of those links will be down in the description below. The fastest intro I've ever done. But Since I haven't been here for the first 2 weeks, I wanted to take a moment to give my overall thoughts on this wild bunch of people that we've got going on this cast. And yes, I also did the cast graphic because I'm still learning these people's names. So, with that being said,
this is your moment. Have it.
Viola, icon. Jaden, insert generic beefy man on Australian Survivor, but he's very nice to look at. Charles, who? Kitty, who? Eden, who? Caroline? We'll talk about her. Winna seems lovely. I like him. Mark, great. Lovely, wonderful. The 3 other Titans that were voted out, I was depressed that Frankie was voted out first. Thoroughly depressed because I loved her in the premiere and I was thoroughly depressed. Eileen, icon, legend, diva, the moment. Now, come on now. Ferris, great to look at. We'll talk about him. Garrick, ugh. Raymond, icon, legend, icon, legend, icon, legend. Sarah, who? Kirby, great antagonist for the overall thing that's happening. Alex, glad he's out of the cuddle crew. Rihanna, she's there. Kelly, icon. Scott, seems lovely and wonderful and fine, but also kind of a little bit based on the edit. Ooh.
Look, that was fate.
basically on time.
That was fate that was trying to cut you off before you could say who about our lovely boy Scott here.
I said, seems lovely, but based on the edit, who? All of the white men blend together, David. Okay? And there's a lot of them.
I'm sorry. Also, a who on Eden?
I know. Yeah. I was surprised by that one.
I mean, he's been part of stuff, but like otherwise,
the first 3 episodes were definitely his breakout moments, and then he kind of went in the background a bit.
So that's why I said who.
Yeah,
that's why I said who. I do recognize that he was a very, very big part of the early game, but since then,
yeah, he's kind of just been dragged around and fucked up multiple times.
Oh,
but you know,
well, all right then. So we start episode 7. We come back. Kelly has failed her mission.
but still swapped anyway.
I want to talk briefly about that twist because I think on paper, that twist was incredible. I don't know how either of y'all felt about it. I enjoyed the saboteur twist because it was different from just, oh, you're getting voted over to the other tribe. I was like, this is something different for them. And I liked it. And then Kelly fucked it up.
Yeah.
But like still I love Kelly. I don't know what the general consensus on this podcast so far is about Kelly, but I'm really enjoying Kelly. Maybe the most out of anyone.
Ooh.
I don't know. I really like Kelly. I don't know. But she failed her sabotage mission, even though they still ended up going to tribal because that Titan group was just not the best of challenges. But she's now back with the rebels, and they're trying to get information out of her. And all she says is, oh yeah, I orchestrated a plan against Nathan. Ma'am, where? But also, I'm so entertained. You live in that delusion, Kelly. You live in that delusion, girl.
She was so matter of fact that he was gone. They're like, oh, so you got to watch him. No, I didn't see it. I just know.
No, I left before tribal was over. They're like, then how did you know? And then when they show up at the challenge and everyone's like,
wait, what the
Kelly?
Fuck? Wait.
Nobody was giving her credit, though, still.
No.
Nor should they.
No one's ever going to give her credit, and she's probably going to be a 0-vote finalist. And honestly, I'm going to be so entertained by that, honestly. But yeah, she's not giving them any information. They keep asking her, like, oh my God, who's the, I'm sorry. Okay, I guess we're just showing the, did someone... one of you, and by one of you I mean David, hit the slideshow.
Oh, Well, if I did, I didn't mean to because I'm
Well, you
holding my
did.
phone. I picked up my phone.
Well, we were literally on slide 3. So thanks, David. I appreciate that, David. Anyway, they're like, oh my God, Kelly, who's the strategist over there? Oh my God, what are the alliances? She's like, I don't really know. I don't know. I couldn't tell. I'm like, half of me is like, well, Kelly, you saw kind of what was going on. And the other half is like, no, I actually don't think Kelly paid attention to any of that.
I don't think she did.
What did Kelly do on the Titans tribe successfully? Quickly.
Wake them up in the middle of the night. That's
and
it.
sit out of a challenge. But that's all.
Yeah.
So
she did very much the bare minimum. And in my opinion, she shouldn't have gone back. She didn't do her mission. But also,
I was so confused why she went back anyway. I was like, oh, I thought it wouldn't have mattered in the grand scheme of anything. But like,
I honestly think it's so that they couldn't just vote her out. Because if she was there, she was likely done.
I still think her plan to orchestrate, or her plan that she orchestrated to take out Nathan would have still gone down.
Oh,
if you ask
it
me,
still would have gone down regardless, probably, unless Nathan could somehow flip it on Kelly. But realistically, it doesn't matter. Literally, it doesn't matter what tribe she ends up on, because how the twist laid out is that she was essentially given immunity for the full round. She would have never had gone to tribal.
I mean, and in that sense, I kind of like that. I don't know. Anyway, we go to what we think is a reward, but guess what? Not a reward. We're swapping.
Yay.
Swapping. And here is the result of aforementioned swap. So Charles, Valeria, and Winna stay on the Titans. And Rihanna, Sarah, and Alex stay on the Rebels. And everyone else swaps.
They definitely planned for the special buff to not be picked second.
Because holy did not. Because then all of a sudden, second poll, Raymond goes, I don't have one.
And they're like, you get to decide between one person that's still there and nobody. Literally, the decision was pointless because he had basically no info.
Oh, I think he ended up, I agree with you. I think he ended up in the best possible scenario.
What is the opposite of a swap screw? Because he got it.
Luck.
Yeah.
I mean, it made sense, the choice that he picked, because only one person had moved so far, and it was Eden to the Rebels. So it's like, okay, in my mind, it's a blank slate. We know there's one rebel on this tribe. I'm going to go to the other tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, would he have created a great bond with Eden? Who knows?
Probably. Hey,
Probably.
we got a good, the bad, and the ugly quote from it, or what's a quote when it's just the music?
Soundbite.
Soundbite. We got
Motif?
him doing some whistling to the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm sure Eden would have ate that up.
Oh yeah. And instead Ferris is just like,
what is that?
Love. Raymond, I think, no, I said earlier, Kelly, I think is the person I'm most entertained by. I lied several times. I think Raymond is my favorite person on this cast. I love Raymond. Is he going to win? I don't know, but I think he stands a good shot at this point, if I'm being honest with you.
Team David.
Oh, I haven't looked at the drafts at all. I need to go look at them and see whose team I am backing overall. But yeah,
I have Eileen. Does Lana have Kelly?
I have Kelly.
Ooh.
Okay.
That's why I said that he likes Team David, because I have Raymond and Kelly and Valeria.
Oh, I love it. Do we have any other thoughts on the swap itself, or do we want to move to any other parts of
No,
the?
I just wish they had a way to keep it more even with the tribes. Like maybe let this group pick among these buffs and this tribe pick amongst these buffs. Because I don't like it when it's too lopsided. Because I don't want to see a Pagonging. And that's definitely what we got in these episodes. We just saw them pick off the people in the minority, right? That's all they did.
Yeah, that's all that happened. It was so predictable. I do think what they should have done realistically with Raymond is you don't have a buff. You're now picking last.
He asked.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, do I go after everybody else? No, you have to go right now."
They definitely panicked and were like, "Shit, there goes our little twist."
Literally.
But yeah, I mean,
so I have looked at everyone's draft teams. I think I am Team David in this, unfortunately. I'm sorry, Jack.
Yeah, I don't blame
minus one specific person on David's team.
Leave my boy alone.
I'm not talking about him.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not talking about him at all.
Well, if you're talking about her, she's playing a very good game.
Oh, I think she's playing a wonderful game. I just don't like her.
I don't either. We will get in it in this.
Yeah, literally. Literally. So the big dynamics here are Kirby and Rihanna are split up. Valeria and Viola are split up. Mark and Viola are on the same side, and Valeria is not on the same side. So it's I'll be honest, the whole part of this before the immunity is just the people on the bottom of each tribe being like, what do we do? And the majority of each tribe going, we're gonna stay strong. Just kidding. Like, for what reason? For what reason?
Yeah, it's very much the storylines of on Titans. We have Kirby versus Ferris, who still don't trust each other, are still in the same tribe, so that might be an issue, but they got to stay rebel strong. And oh yeah, you know, Mark is getting too close to V and Valeria, but like we can deal with that later. We don't have to deal with that now, but like put a pin in it, I guess.
I did one thing I really did like was the conversation in the ocean with Scott, Ferris, and Kirby, where Scott's like, hey guys, can we just put our differences aside and you all work together? Because I'm like, this has literally been me on Twitter and on the podcast. I'm like, please guys, just work together. You all were my favorites.
The first of how many times did we hear that from how many players over these 3 episodes? And I'm going to be honest, I think Kirby and Ferris are both incredibly entertaining. I am so sick of this back and forth. I am so sick of it. Every 5 seconds being like, but we need to get out Ferris. And Ferris being like, but we need to get out Kirby. But you're not, though.
I hope it
but
lasts
it's not
all
their
season.
Fault. No, I'm like, I either want them to work together or I want them both to be voted out. I don't really care, but it's just like, I think we should vote Ferris. But then you don't. I think we should vote Kirby. And then stupid people get in the way of that. It's like, for what reason? God, this season, I have to be honest, I am enjoying it. It is frustrating me to no end. I'm very frustrated by a lot of things happening by a lot of people, including things by a lot of people that I enjoy.
It is actively some of the weirdest and most nonsensical gameplay I've ever seen. But honestly, that's what makes it so much fun to watch, because you are actively seeing people fall on their face over and over and just seeing what happens.
Yeah, I was saying before we started recording that not a single vote this week went the way I wanted it to, but somehow I was still like highly entertained and just eating it up the whole time because it's been so chaotic in the best way. And I'm really liking this season. Like, it's crazy how much I'm liking the season.
I need to get there. I'm enjoying it. I am thoroughly entertained, but I'm not where y'all are at yet. But I'm keeping an open mind.
I think it may be a difference between slow burn and 7 episodes in 2
True.
days.
You know, honestly, probably.
And I don't blame you.
It also helps to not get too invested in the kind of side characters, because honestly, everybody who's been voted out so far, they've given side character energy. And so I've known not to invest fully in them.
I think the only person that for me didn't give side character energy was Frankie. But they just had to show enough of her because
True.
she was only in 1 episode.
Mhm.
Again, thoroughly upset that Frankie got voted out first. 100% reasonable. Loved The Blind Side. Was so upset because I think she could have done damage on this season. With the chaos of this cast, she could have done damage on this season. But she didn't. But
She was too powerful. They had to get rid of her.
that is very apparently she was too powerful. I don't know.
Now I want to name the main characters. I'm going to do that real quickly, and I'll see if you all agree or disagree. I'm going to start on the left side. So Valeria, main character.
Yes.
Caroline, main character.
Now, yes.
Mark, main character.
Absolutely.
I honestly think Winna is a main character.
I would say so.
And
That's a little harder for me to swallow.
That one, that's the shakiest of the 4 you've named so far.
Yes, and I get that, but I do think that he has a long-term arc in this season.
Oh, he had a monologue in episode 1. He's going to go far.
Mm-hmm. So on the other side, obviously Ferris,
Obviously.
Kirby,
Yeah.
Alex, and Kelly. The 2 little rivalries on that side.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like they're trying to get Eileen to that position, but she's been so fucking ignored by the rest of the cast at this point that like she tried and then got shot down, and then she tried again and then got shot down.
I don't think they are. I think she's just actively making very good strategic moves, and we'll talk about it. But I think she's just making strategic moves and making herself a part of the narrative, because otherwise the first 6 episodes I couldn't tell you what she did. I couldn't tell you who she was aligned with. I couldn't tell you really much about her, and I still don't think we've gotten her backstory, whereas we've gotten most other people's at this point.
We've heard a little bit of her backstory. I don't think we've seen like the montage, the video.
The only people who I do not remember seeing a montage for at this point are Eileen and Kitty and Charles. No, I think we saw Charles. I think everyone else has had their montage at this point, which concerns me.
And
The moment we see Eileen's backstory, I'm like, well, she's going home. Okay. Like that's the part I'm like, shit, she's gonna go home.
We'll talk about it later, but genuinely I thought that was happening, and no, it's just a reference to an immunity challenge later on. So it's very possible that the skill that she uses is just in the immunity. But with that said, immunity.
Yes, and I loved this challenge. I love that Australian Survivor is doing new, different challenges this season.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of like the same sort of pieces, but put together in very different ways. And this one, each tribe member has a gutter, and you have to transfer a ball across the gutter system to the end, which seems very, very simple. And at first I was like, this is an immunity challenge? And then very quickly I was like, oh.
I also love how it's a side story, whether or not Kelly is going to sit out each challenge. Like this one, she was like, wait, you all want me to sit out? And they're like, yeah, you should probably be tall, and you're the shortest. She's like, I have to be tall.
You need height.
Yes.
Oh my god.
She still participates.
Kelly is so entertaining. Her and her low center of gravity are so entertaining. That fucking bridge was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, I thought this challenge was very entertaining, very different, and I appreciated seeing something different in an immunity challenge. But ultimately, it was close at the start, but the Titans kind of just like they body it. They go like 4 in a row. Kirby's able to get the last one in, and they win.
Yeah.
So.
I will say this is a challenge that very much, if someone cannot do it, you're done. It is entirely, can your 2 people work together? Okay, great. Can the next 2 people work together? And it keeps going on and on and on and on and on. So the Rebels had someone who can do it once, and that was it, essentially. If I remember right, that's
failed it. I don't remember. It doesn't matter for the long.
It doesn't really matter. I want to say it was either Kitty or Caroline who
I remember
struggled.
it bouncing off of Kitty's.
Yeah, I think
when it landed, like it kind of ricocheted off the side.
Who?
Yeah, basically. But
the only reason I know she's still in this game and not voted out is because they keep mentioning her in the Middle-Aged Mafia. which I will say, I think overall is a pretty unlikable group of people with one of the best alliance names of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I love the name of that group.
They're just so ominous. Like, I am so intrigued. They remind me kind of the Row 4 from Survivor Marquesas. I'm getting that kind of vibe from them.
Yeah, I see that.
Like even Kitty, like if you watch her, like she looks so pleasant, but she has like this ominous voice, like every time she talks. And then it's kind of the opposite with Caroline. It's her face that is just like kind of has this evil vibe to it.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Until we got Caroline's backstory about her being a midwife, I didn't know who was who between the 2 of them.
Yeah, it was the
I
same.
don't blame you.
I really was like, who's who? And then with Sarah in the mix, I was like, who? Genuinely, I was like, who are you? Huh?
Okay, don't insult Sarah like that.
Oh, I will be insulting Sarah come episode 8.
Okay, yeah, come episode 8. Absolutely deserved.
I have a lot to say about Miss Sarah and Miss Rihanna, but because idiocy. I'm gonna call it as I see it, idiocy. But we're on the new Rebel beach. I guess it's new Rebel, new Titan, and not the 2.0, 3.0. I'm kind of sad by that, I'm gonna be honest. Because or is the 2.0 thing a South African Survivor thing, David?
I don't know. I've only watched 1 season of South Africa, so.
And you claim to be the Survivor super fan. That's
of
very
Australia and United States and UK now.
That's very interesting, seeing as how I've watched more Survivor seasons than you. That's very interesting. Anyway.
But you haven't watched them more times than me, I could guarantee you.
No, because honest to God, I don't really find Survivor to be that much of a rewatchable show. And that's what it comes down to for me.
Especially with people who haven't seen it. I love introducing people.
But you've introduced with Survivor introducing people to it is me with Drag Race.
Fair.
That's how I view things. But anyway, we go back to the new Rebel Beach, and Mark and Viola are like, so we could take out someone in the minority, or we could take out Caroline. And then I love that they ultimately decide, dun, dun, dun. That fit very perfectly within my monologue here. They decide they're not going to, and that they're just going to take out, I think it was Rihanna at that point. Yeah. She's seemingly the name that all of them are throwing out if they just need a name, but they're not actually going to vote it. But Caroline, sweet Caroline. Oh, I'm mad at both of you for not doing it. Anyway,
Oh,
No,
Don't do
no,
that.
no.
I don't do it
Yeah, I
because
know it died.
Valeria doesn't do it. She just says "Sweet Caroline." She doesn't do the dot dot dot.
Well, I did it for David, and I thought one of you would return the favor to me, and you didn't, and I'm fundamentally disappointed by both of you. I have to be honest. But Caroline decides that, oh, I see Mark and Viola talking, and I'm a midwife. So I have a sixth sense because I'm a midwife. And in case you didn't know, I'm a midwife. And so because of the fact that I'm a midwife,
I know that something's going on.
I know that something is up because I'm a midwife. So she goes to the rest of the middle-aged mafia and is like, we need to vote out Viola. Because we need to make sure that Mark is on our side. So we have to vote out Viola. And I'm like, you're going to what now? Now, I'm going to be honest. I think the move itself, fundamentally on paper, is a good move for this group. However, the words Caroline used to describe Viola, questionable.
I do not remember it that well,
Me
but I will
neither.
take your word on it.
Oh, God. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember feeling anger. It wasn't shifty, but it was like another really bad term that you probably shouldn't use in reference to Black people. And I remember feeling anger in that moment regarding what she said towards Viola or about Viola.
Mm-hmm.
But it was something along the lines of shifty, but I can't remember what it was. Anyway. So she's like, we need to vote out Viola because we need to make sure that Mark has no other options and that we are his option. That didn't work out so great for you now, did it?
Yeah.
In the long term, that didn't work out for you great, did it?
I don't know what it is about the middle-aged mafia specifically and not telling them when themselves or one of their closest other allies is in danger. Like, just talk. If a lot of the problems this season can be solved by just a little bit of talking.
Communication. What a novel concept.
Episode, communication goes a little too far, but
There's too much communication. So
in moderation.
I do love in this moment that Eden's like, "Oh, things are getting spicy." I'm like, the one-liners from Eden, I'll be honest, I think are lovely. I'm like, that's entertaining. But
he knows why he's there.
Yes. So they're now trying to get Jaden in on the vote. Which
I love this conversation because Eden goes up and he's like, "Hey, Jaden, they're trying to get out Viola," and Jaden's like, "Okay, what do you want to do?" And Eden's like, "No, I'm asking you. Are you okay with that?" Jaden's like, "I'll do whatever you want to do." Like he was not gonna incriminate himself. He was just making it very clear. Eden, I'll do what you want to do. You tell me what you want to do, then I'll do that.
He's so nice to look at, without a single strategic bone in his body. But God, is he nice to look at?
Yeah.
He's doing what he needs to. He knows the minute they get to merge, he can just.
Oh, he will be the first. He will, if he makes it to merge, he will be the first person voted out.
I don't know about that.
The first opportunity, a physical threat. That's
who
what
cares about that? Who cares about that when there's strategic threats coming for you at the merge?
No, you're not wrong.
Pencil him in for top 6 if he makes the merge.
Oh wow, okay. I'll safely say top 8. I think if he makes it, because I do think he could also just win out.
That
Australian Survivor is usually a lot better about balancing what kind of individual immunity challenges they do. So
yeah, if he is a puzzle, he's not going to win. But like anything else, he'll be fine.
Yeah. Caroline also decides she's going to pick the people in the minority she thinks are the most malleable, which of course are the women, because of course, I guess. And I do love that Mark and Viola are just completely in the dark. I hate it for them because I fundamentally really enjoyed both of them. But I'm so sad.
Alex was also in the dark.
Well, yeah,
Which
they
kind
didn't
of
need his
surprised
vote.
me.
They didn't need his vote, apparently.
True. I figured the girls would clue him in, especially considering Sarah has been in an alliance with Alex since the start.
Sarah can't communicate a goddamn thing to save her life, David. What makes you... God. Okay. I'm gonna save it. So we go to tribal, and the whole tribal conversation is revolving around the minority three and them pleading their cases. And I'm just like,
none of this matters.
No. But what I did love was JLP going, Alex, why do you think they should keep you? And he just goes, muscle. And I'm like,
that was so funny.
I'm not mad at it. The man looks nice in a Speedo. I'm not mad at it.
I want to say this. So the first 6 episodes, not an Alex fan at all.
No, me either.
And then you get him away from Kelly.
So likable.
So likable about this guy.
Likable.
Like, he did a 180 on him.
Me too. I'm like, wait, oh, Alex. Was he the one fighting Kelly all the goddamn time?
Yeah.
I'm like,
once he doesn't have a person that he hates violently, he's a great person to be around, you know?
Sure.
Just, a little bit of energy vampiring.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, this conversation at Tribal is a whole lot of nothing. And that's typically how Australian Survivor Tribal Councils are, if I'm being honest. Like...
Yeah, I mean, the only real thing of note here is a question to Eden about when is the right time to make a move. And I mean, Eden just kind of like, I mean, as long as you're not a fucking target, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You just got to make sure that you're playing at the right time or whatever. And this conversation isn't suspicious at all to anyone else.
Oh, no, not suspicious at all. What are you talking about?
And we get to the vote.
I'm so emo still. Because they blindside Viola.
No. The season ended right there. She won.
Thank you so much for joining us for our Australian Survivor Titans versus Rebels coverage. We'll be back next season.
Yay, this was a weirdly short season.
And there's still, 18 people left in the game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, here's what I have to say about Viola. On paper, like, she absolutely should have been like my favorite person this season. And I felt like she was going to be based on the first episode. But if we're being honest, she was always presented as Valeria's sidekick.
Yep.
She was not as visible as Valeria. So am I sad she's gone? Yes. Am I as sad as I would have been if it was a few other people in this cast? No. But I would love to see her again on a different season because I think she could do very, very well.
I'm going to stay in my delusion and say that she was fully robbed.
I think we were robbed of seeing more of her. That's what I will say. Because I do agree with you, David. I think she was always brought up in the context of either Mark or Valeria. But what we did get individually of Viola, I think, was absolutely incredible. Her individual challenge performances where she got to beast out and kind of like do her thing, I think were lovely. I think she is primed for the next Second Chances season of Australian Survivor. The next time they bring back returners, she's primed for it. And I don't remember someone that got an opening monologue going out this early ever, honestly. I don't know if you can think of anyone, David, but I can't think of anyone that really went out this early in the pre-merge.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody, but I'm sure there have been a few.
There's probably got to be at least one or two, but I have to,
I do want to give some credit to Caroline here because as much as I'm not liking her, I think she's the villain. But I do think this was absolutely the right move in this moment for her, especially
Absolutely.
considering the previous episode when Nathan was voted out. There was a full plan to get out Caroline, and the alliance of three that we love, they had roped in Jaden and Winna and Nathan, so word got out. And what we did not see in the episode was word got back to Caroline. And so that's absolutely why she wanted her out. Like, I cannot blame her. If I know for a fact you're coming for me, you pulled a half measure, I'm pulling a full measure. And I think there's a few different people that we're seeing in this group of episodes that are paying for the half measures they did in previous episodes.
Yup. Mm-hmm. Oh, I think I don't particularly care for Caroline either, I'll be honest. Even though she's a midwife. But I will absolutely give her props because I think she's playing one of the best strategic games right now.
Yep.
And I think she is very well insulated right now within the new Rebels.
True. An iconic voting confessional when she voted her out.
I've delivered thousands of babies, but this is the first time that I'm delivering a blind side. And guess what? It's a baby girl. One of the best.
Ruthless.
I will say I'm not loving the character of Caroline. Let me say that. She's probably a lovely person. Not loving the character of Caroline yet, but that is absolutely brutal. And that's one of the best confessional one-liners I have ever seen on Survivor, hands down.
You have to be able to have a good villain so you can appreciate their downfall when it comes.
And you know who wasn't a good villain to me? King George.
No, because he was a hero.
We're not starting that fucking conversation. No, absolutely not. What I do have to do, unfortunately,
I'm here.
Disappointing. That's fundamentally disappointing.
Whatever.
You could pick hundreds of other people from Survivor.
And I'm glad I picked George because I think he's an amazing character and great player.
Okay. Anyway, we don't have to talk about King George. He's not here. What we do have to do is, unfortunately, I don't want to do it.
Just do it.
No!
How could you?
I have to. We have to move on to this absolute disaster of an episode 8. So we start. It's the fallout of the Viola blindside. Mark is pissed, but he can't let anyone else know that he's pissed because now his only alliance left is the middle-aged mafia for now.
It's the middle-aged mafia and Jaden. So, I mean, great pickings. Yeah, I mean, what else is he going to do? Just sit back and not join them and not target any of them in the next remaining episodes?
He's actually going to go to Alex.
Yeah.
Because God. Alex was the only other person left out of the blind side. So he's like, hey, Alex! I like this duo. I hope that this duo can do something. I don't normally root for alliances of white men, but in this case, I do kind of really enjoy the two of them together. And Alex is just like, well, I was left out of the vote, but like, I'm seeming to get a lot of new opportunities now. So, sure, let's play ball.
Why not?
Sure. And then they name their alliance Yucatan.
Yeah, it's a territory in Mexico.
Why?
Diplomacy? I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you anything about that.
In a season where they've had some of the best alliance names of all time, Middle-Aged Mafia, you're then stuck with Yucatan.
And half of them does not know what that is.
Alex is like, I don't know what this is. And so now they're planning, they want to split up Kitty and Caroline. Speaking of Kitty.
Hi, Lily.
Hi, Lily.
Oh,
Oh, well. We said kitty, to be fair.
no.
Dear God, Lily.
It's okay. I'll be back soon.
If you're only listening to the podcast, you're only getting 50% of the story. Anyway, they need to get Sarah and Rihanna on board for the kitty blindside as well. So it's, whatever. And then we go to immunity. And this is where everybody else finds out that Viola was blindsided. And Valeria's face, I felt so bad. No.
They were asking who was in charge of this, and Alex is like, I literally do not know.
And I don't know who it was, but someone was like, yeah, that tracks. I believe that. And everyone's denied. And I'm like,
Yep.
Whatever. So this challenge was obstacle puzzle. My favorite.
Gotta have some.
Yeah, I was like, this is fine. And then you have to solve this giant, like, geometric, like, tessellation, not tessellation. What is it called?
Tangram.
Tangram, thank you.
Oh,
It's giant tangram. And
somebody who works at an art museum would be great at that.
Oh, wait. Now we randomly get Scott's intro? Weird.
what? I was like, well, of course he's the homosexual of the season. He works at an art museum. We all do. Hello. I was like, I see the similarities now between myself and Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go check out his Instagram and see his art. It's really good.
Ooh, I might. Shout out to Scott. I like Scott.
Me too.
I hope they show more of Scott moving forward. Because I think he's, trying to be the mediator within this goddamn disaster that is this season. Yes, obstacle puzzle. This is pretty cut and dry. It comes down to the puzzle. They can't really figure out that, like, all of these rectangle pieces are supposed to be a border. Because in this case, there's no pattern to this puzzle. There's no, and that's what I think made the puzzle a lot harder. And in this case, I actually really enjoyed the puzzle because it was just a solid color tangram puzzle.
There was some sort of gradient on it.
Was there?
Yeah, they mentioned it, but
I watched it at 1.5 speed. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
If there was, I didn't notice.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, it was unnoticeable, but some people were like, "It has a gradient on it. Huh? We should probably use that." And Scott's like, "I got this. This is my job."
Come on, Art Gay. Come on, Art Gay. Representing for all of us. I appreciate you.
He's done art director for nothing. He's not an art director for nothing.
That's Eden. Was it Eden that said that?
Paris,
probably.
I think.
Oh, Paris. Okay.
Someone who knows is one.
That makes sense. Why would Eden say that on the other tribe?
Because Eden has lovely one-liners. Okay,
True.
That's why. It really feels like, I have to be honest, it feels like this season they typecast 2 of the same tribes. Like, there is a doppelganger, I think, for almost each person on the other tribe. It's very strange. It's very strange to me. Because,
Basically.
Scott and Eden, Raymond and Charles.
Mark Derrick?
Yes. Frankie and Kirby. I would
Frankie and Vita.
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that. And then I guess in that case, Viola Kirby. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You would just think they would have taken one of Sarah and Rihanna and one of Kitty and Caroline and put them on the opposite tribe. Because it feels like
there's Kitty, Caroline, and Kelly.
Oh, true. So I guess there's Caroline and Eileen.
Look, it takes two people to be the doppelganger of Kelly because she's so much.
If all three of them make merge, I'm going to be really happy that I know two of their names in order to keep all of the white blonde women in line. Because otherwise, I would have no clue. Thank God Valeria has a Russian accent, because otherwise, I'd throw her in the mix too. It's like, who is who? Huh?
Oh, and then we have Sarah.
Not for long. We'll talk about it. So, Titans win. Rebels go back, and this is a goddamn disaster. This is a goddamn disaster.
Madness.
This is whiteboard level chaos.
Mhm.
Like, we need to just start drawing lines because
Honestly, I have one. I could. Like, so Mark. Okay, I'm gonna try to piece through it as much as I can, and if I forget pieces, please add to, because I probably will. So, Mark is trying to enact his plan, where he's convincing the middle-aged mafia that he is going with their plan, and that the plan is that they are going to stay OG Rebel, no, OG Titan, no, OG Rebel.
OG
he's going to
Titans
stay OG Titans.
Colors! I don't like that.
plus Alex.
Yeah, everyone's going to stay OG Titan Strong plus Alex. And they're going to split the vote 3-3 on Sarah and vote out Sarah in the revote. That's the middle-aged mafia plan. Mark is then going to the minority, being Alex, Sarah, and Rihanna, and is trying to is telling them we're voting out Kitty. And Alex, all in. Great. Love it.
Perfect plan. The only thing
Rihanna
to ruin it.
Rihanna on the fence, I think, at this point. Sarah, no. This is a lie. So what does she do? Goes straight to Caroline.
They both do. Both of the girls do.
They both go, but
They both
Sarah
get a
is the
kitty.
catalyst for it. Sarah is the catalyst for it. So they go to Caroline and tell Caroline
Kitty.
that Mark.
They go to Kitty, and there's a good reason why they go to Kitty specifically.
Because it's her name.
I couldn't tell them apart.
That's still valid.
They go to one of the older blonde white women and tells them
and tells them the entire plan.
the entire plan.
Just everything.
To which,
Who then tells it to Mark.
well, because they're like, oh, that's just a load of horse shit.
Just a lot of
And I'm like, oh God, okay.
I could tell when Kitty was like, "You reckon?" when,
You reckon?
when they were like, "Mark wants to get rid of you." You reckon?
So they go to Mark, and she's like, oh no, that's not the plan at all, because why would Mark be plotting so early after we blindsided his other number one ally? Of course he's not going to do that. He needs us right now. Oh boy, older white blonde woman, you are sorely mistaken. So Kitty tells the middle-aged mafia about this whole thing.
with Sarah right next by.
Yes. So then Mark is like, well, crap. They told my plan. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go back to the three of them and propose another plan. And this time, the plan is to vote out Caroline.
Just swap the white woman.
But I did like that he said, I know you went and told Kitty. That's fine. We're going to do Carol. That way he dropped a hint to them.
Yeah.
Look, your plan, you blabbing on me, got blabbed back to me. Like, that was a subtle.
Here's what you need to know.
Realized.
The people that you think you're working with are not the people that you are working with, because I now know what you've done because of what I told you.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah in the midst of this.
Oh, it's got to go to Alex first.
Well, yes. I'm just saying, Sarah, throughout all of this, a goddamn disaster. Thoroughly just like, I don't know what's happening. I'm so confused. I don't like this. I don't know who's telling the truth. So it goes to Alex. And also, Mark in this moment clues them in on having an idol. And he's like, I'm going to play my idol. We're going to vote out Caroline.
Just basically trying desperately to shut down the idea of voting for him, because that would be stupid, because the vote never works. Just vote Caroline, please, for the love of God.
And even Alex is like, because the ladies are still not on board. Alex even is going to Sarah and Rihanna going, no, the original plan was for the 6 of us to split our votes on you and vote out Sarah in the revote. That was the plan. So
Sarah starts walking away. He's
No,
like,
no,
where
no,
are you
no, no.
going?
Sarah, where are you going? Where are you going, Sarah?
You going to blow this
Sarah!
up? No, I'm just going to find the truth. I'm going to ask Eden. And Alex is like,
Oh.
Why would you ask Eden? So Sarah goes to Eden
and Kitty.
and Kitty and asks if this is the plan.
And
Of
Mark's
course,
there
Eden.
too.
Of course, Eden's like, no.
Eden's face here was my favorite because he like hears, she's like, Alex told us that you all are splitting the votes on us. And Eden just goes, and then just walks off. He just like does like,
oh my God. And Mark is not going to admit to going against the middle-aged mafia.
Sarah says, I only tell the truth. And Kitty says, so do I. And Mark, so do I.
So do I.
With just a little bit of critical thinking, they could have easily figured out that Mark has told them 2 different plans. But, you know.
And 2 different truths. Because why would Alex go against them when all 3 of them are in the minority? But wait! The idiocy does not end here. Because we go to tribal. I don't know if I can get through talking about this without just laughing. So the tribal itself is a whole lot of nothing. Whatever. Like, they say words happen, whatever. We go to. I don't know if either of you had anything.
There was only like the thing that Rihanna like said that made it sound like she still wasn't sure where she was going, and I think that's what made Sarah nervous. She's like, "Wait a second, who is she voting for now?" Because at this point, before tribal council, Sarah had finally come to the conclusion: I'm just gonna go with Mark because I don't know what else to do. I'm gonna vote out Caroline.
Thank God Sarah got it together somewhat.
And also just like the last little bit of scrambling possible. Eden's just off to the side, like, yeah, we should honestly just vote Sarah at this point.
Vote Sarah.
Because we need one more confusing element to this hellhole.
God. So, we get the votes. The votes come down. And Mark plays his idol.
And this should have no use. It's just prevention. It should be 4-4.
This should have
Super
absolutely no use. Mark does not count. And he goes, oh. You just see him sink a little bit. He's like, so the votes come down. And it's
we forgot to mention something important.
Oh, please mention.
Yeah, so in the whole chaos of tribal council, Eden, I think, started to realize, wait a second, things might not be going how we planned it to.
Mm-hmm.
And he like starts whispering to his team, let's all put our votes on Sarah. Let's stop this split.
We just talked about that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that.
The Jack and I literally just talked about that.
I apologize. I had a text message from somebody, so.
Wow, David.
Somebody's trying to come over to my place, and I'm like, I'm podcasting in the morning. Do not come early. Do not come early. No.
Aw.
But no, we literally just talked.
Sorry, I apologize.
No, it's fine. You're really not listening to me today. Is that what it is? I come to one Australian Survivor recording and suddenly you don't listen to me, David. I'm kidding. I love David so much. The votes come down and it's 3 votes Sarah, 3 votes Caroline. And then Sarah gets voted out because her ally decided at the last minute to switch her vote to someone who didn't receive a single other vote.
Why?
I honestly can't tell you. I honestly can't tell you why Rihanna flipped her vote to Mark. I don't get it.
She just didn't trust Mark. That was the problem. But I think so. I think almost everybody misplayed this, like because everybody was saying too much information and then not realizing what they were hearing. They were not realizing the full evidence of it. Like everybody else should have realized. Oh, we can't. It was like in this weird triangular thing of I can't trust the person. I think the only 2 people who didn't really botch this were probably Alex and Jaden.
Yeah.
And the weird thing about it is, I think if it ties,
It goes to
Caroline
Rocks.
prob-
I think it goes to
I-
Rocks.
I'm
don't
not
think so.
sure. I think Alex might flip.
I think Jaden might flip.
I think Jaden would flip. I think Eden might even flip.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think Jaden is the number 1 person that that's really all it would have taken. Because it probably would have scrambled right after the tie. And I think Mark would have had enough foresight to go to Jaden in that moment and be like, I just need you to flip to Caroline. We will be majority. They will not be majority. Vote Caroline. And I think it would have flipped.
But
I do see a
instead-
scenario, though, where people still don't trust what's happening and it goes to Rocks.
I can see that too. I can actually see a double flip where they end up canceling each other out.
Oh my God, could you imagine if Rihanna voted out Sarah and then for some reason, because she doesn't know who to vote for, because she's played Kirby's game up until this point and she doesn't really know what else to do in the game. No shade to Rihanna, that's just kind of the reality of at least the edit we're getting. If Rihanna and Jaden swapped and then it went to Rocks because of that. And in that scenario, like, randomly Eden goes home. Like, what? That would have been interesting. But Sarah goes home. Honestly, the moment at Tribal Council where she was like, I don't like to lie, and I don't like when people lie to me, I was like, bye, girl.
I just kind of
you
wish
here?
it blew up in Rihanna's face instead because she was the one who watched this. She should have gone home. Poor Sarah
And
was a casualty.
I honestly don't know if people realize that Rihanna was the botched vote. We didn't get to see a whole lot from this, like, rebel. I don't know, though. Because we got no blowback on Rihanna.
Yeah, they didn't show us it. I'm sure it came up. I'm sure she feels like an idiot, and I'm sure she admitted that to Alex and Mark.
I would hope so. Who knows?
I also think that this plan actually goes through if Eden doesn't realize that things aren't right. Because there should have been votes on Rihanna from at least a couple members of the Middle-Aged Mafia, and to see that not happen,
he could have tied it. Because it could have been 3-3-1-1.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would have been an interesting scenario to see.
But instead, we have Sarah going home because inactivity. I'm gonna genuinely say it's inactivity, and Rihanna being like, "But you're my biggest threat."
Literally.
Again,
I'm not fundamentally disappointed to see Sarah go home because, again, you went on Survivor. You know what show this is. You went on Survivor. If you don't like lying and being lied to, why did you go on Survivor? Genuinely. Like, that's kind of just like, I don't get those people. I really don't. But let's move very quickly to episode 9. And we get the fallout again of Mark and Carolyn. And they're patching things up on the surface level. They're like, oh my God, we should totally work together moving forward. Oh my God, yeah, I totally think we can just like figure this whole thing out. Like, we're good. Oh, yeah. No.
I mean, Caroline does ask directly for like, I want you to prove this to me. Vote the way I tell you to at the next tribal.
Yeah. And also asks for a reason. And Mark is kind of just like, there's a lot of ums in this statement because I don't know that he can actually come up with a reason that is plausible to Caroline's face. He's kind of just like, that's what I felt like was the best decision for my game in that moment. Yeah. So we've got that going on.
And then we have Titans, which I still don't understand the back half of this whole thing. Because we have the front half. It makes sense.
So things are going well. Titans have like won some challenges. And then all of a sudden, we see Ferris talking about Kelly, going, Kelly's been acting a bit differently. She is an idol. What?
It kind of gets explained later on. I didn't realize it until my second viewing. But Ferris tells Kirby tells Kelly, and then Kelly says to Kirby, oh, he must have saw me walking. I had something in my hand.
Yeah.
So I think that they saw her with something that might have looked idolish and just made assumptions from there.
Yeah. I can also tell you why Kelly's different. Alex isn't here to annoy her. That's why she's different, Ferris. That's why she's a little bit calmer.
We also have a beautiful, beautiful screamed conversation between Ferris and Raymond.
Ferris is on his high horse. He is feeling so confident.
Everyone knows he basically has an idol at this point.
Hey, Raymond!
No, that's the whole point, is they do not know. He's wanting it to be a mystery. Yeah. Still, at the end of this episode, nobody knows whether he ever had one or not.
And he said something, I don't remember what episode it was in, but he said something so profound to me, and I was like, yes, but I don't think I'd ever heard it said on an episode of the show. I had heard it said in a lot of podcasts, because, we get to see the whole game as it's unfolding, or at least what the edit shows us. He was like, it's not just the power that you have to protect yourself with an idol. It's also the power of what you can do to convince other people about whether or not you have this. So it goes beyond the power of just nullifying votes. And it goes to creating a perception, oh, maybe I have an idol, oh, maybe I don't. That gives me a shield as is. And I think he could have done that exact same thing, whether he had an idol or not. Mm-hmm. And I think in that regard, I think Ferris is playing an absolutely wonderful game for himself. He is playing a very, very strong individual game. And I don't feel like he's playing I think he's playing a very narrow-minded game and not looking at the whole scope of everything. And I think we see that play out at the end of this episode.
Oh, I disagree.
Okay. But I do love this moment. Jack, want to act it out with me?
Sure.
Hey, Raymond! I have an idol! Don't tell anyone!
Sure, your secret's safe with me.
I would be the Ferris in this scenario, and you would be the Raymond. And I mean that with the most love in the world towards you, Jack.
I will happily take that compliment.
I was gonna say, I feel like we're on the same page here. So Kirby decides to tell Kelly about this whole situation. And Kelly decides she's gonna go around and parade her whatever to Ferris. And Ferris is like, I think we need to target Kirby. Again. Huh, okay.
Again.
So obviously he has his group of Garrick and Raymond, and Eileen is kind of sort of between all of them, somewhat kinda. And they're like, we're gonna grab the OG Titan minority, Valeria, Winna, and Charles. And they become the, back and forth of this episode. But before we can talk any more about any of this strategy, we have a reward challenge, which I think might be the dumbest reward challenge of all time.
This felt so weird because it felt like they combined two challenges, and one of them was not even a worthwhile challenge to begin with.
So we're running into the ocean to grab coconuts with letters on them.
Only some of them, though.
Only some of them have letters. To spell salsa, chili, the Australian spelling of chili, and tortilla. Now, I couldn't tell you really anything that happened in this reward challenge as far as like the results or who was in each round. What I do want to talk
one thing.
I was going to say there are two things I want to talk about in this. And I think one of them might be the same thing you're thinking about. Jack. Which one are you thinking about?
You would think that everyone knows how to spell. And Kelly asserts this as well.
I can spell.
Look.
Everyone can spell, Kelly. That was kind of a great line from Garrick, I have to be honest. I like that from Garrick. And then
she can't spell.
Because she's up to spell salsa. And she runs up the beach with an A and sees that there's already an A and throws down the A coconut.
Well, everyone is dumbfounded.
Ferris is just like, what is that? What is that? And Kelly goes, it's an A, I don't need it. And he goes, yes, you do, Kelly. Kelly frustrates me to no end, but I am so entertained by this woman.
I'm trying to figure out what other letter could have been there.
What other letter did she think was at the end of salsa?
The only explanation I can do is salsa, but sa is spelled S-U-8, which is worse.
No.
But
no.
Yeah, it's bad.
I will say
bad.
My other favorite moment of this reward is when Valeria goes up and she can't say the word tortilla. She cannot say the word tortilla. And she's just spelling the word because people have repeated it to her, so she knows how it's spelled. And then the Titans end up winning the reward, and she goes on the Mexican feast. She's like, I've never been to a Mexican restaurant before, but there's this and salsa and T-O-R-T. Entertainment value. Honestly, love Valeria.
One of the cutest confessionals ever. And it's just the way she said it. She goes, T-O-R-T.
T.
Tortilla.
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 Tortilla. I love protect Valeria at all costs. She is so entertaining. But the Titans win a reward, which means that the OG Titans get to eat for the first time in like 20 days, I think, because I don't think they had won a reward.
Something around there, yeah.
Something like
that. It was
that.
a long time. And this looks like a pretty good food reward too. Like, it is everything.
She was like, she may not have had tortillas before, she may not have been to a Mexican restaurant before, but she can down some margaritas. That's my girl. That's my girl. Except I make my margaritas with vodka because I'm weird like that. I don't.
Sometimes you just have to do it.
I don't like tequila. It does weird things to me. Anyway, so after the reward, we get the minority OG Titans kind of going back and forth on, do we work with Kirby? Do we work with Ferris? Do we work with Ferris? Do we work with Kirby? And obviously Kirby is going to tell the trio that she's targeting Ferris, and Ferris is going to tell them that he's targeting Kirby because they can't target anyone else, apparently.
We do see Charles, the trio's talking, and I think we saw the whole reason the episode goes the way it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Charles was talking, and he's like, one way is a 4, one is a 3. So we can either go with the 4 and they still have the numbers, or we can go with the 3 and be even 3 and 3. So I think there is never going to be any other way.
No, I don't think so either. I'm not mad at that, honestly.
It makes sense.
I get it. From a strategic standpoint, like evening out the trios, like 3 voting blocks of 3, I think is a really good strategy to have at this point. If you are the minority of a presumable majority 7, that's not really a majority 7. So, we go to immunity, and it's a classic, hold up some barrels full of water, everyone. I don't like these challenges. I get that we have to have endurance challenges.
I will say it was a very interesting thing to see for a first time of going, this actually kind of works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is tribal and strategy, but like, I'm not mad at it.
I honestly wish they would bring this challenge over to the US version.
They're not going to bring anything over other than obstacle puzzle or obstacle decks.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. But I think it would be very fun. Because this I think has been on a version of this has been on every single season of Australian Survivor. Which I think is very entertaining. But my favorite part of this episode is when at one point Charles ends up holding up 2 barrels and all of the rebels are like, yeah, Charles! All of the rebels that were Titans originally were like, yeah, Charles, you get that! Lily agrees. Yeah, Charles! Again, I was like, who?
No.
Exactly, Lily.
You have to understand.
Lily's saying who as well. That was a who.
He's worked on Untitled Goose Game, and that's about all of the knowledge we have of him.
Did we know that?
It was brought up when Charles and Raymond were fighting during the
yes.
And the only reason I know that is because I get a second psychic attack from being on the internet too long during the back half of this episode, and I will explain it when we get there, because it is a long, beautiful history of the internet and how you don't translate things.
Good. I love that we haven't seen any of the nerding out between the two of them since they're on the same tribe now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think it would just be too powerful. I need one of Charles, Raymond, and Eden to get voted out before merge. I think the 3 white, lanky, nerdy men on the same merge tribe, too much power.
You combine that
Too
blonde
much power.
hair.
It would be like when Brando was trying to be a nerd on 45 and it did not work.
That's exactly what
Like,
I thought of.
I'm like, there's too much nerd power. The nerds, I need a nerd and I need a blonde white woman to be voted out pre-merge. So week 4, you better bring me both those things. Thank you. Anyway, Rebels win. They win an immunity for the first time in a while. Good for you.
They didn't even need a fucking traitor on their side this time around to lose.
Right. So we go back to the Titan camp. And immediately Eileen is just like, can we all agree to vote together? I love Eileen so much.
Eileen's like, please be reasonable. Please be reasonable. Please
and
be
Kirby the entire time is just tending to the fire, not making eye contact with anyone. And Eileen's just like, Kirby. And Kirby's like, yeah, I agree. And it goes right back down to not making eye contact with anyone.
It was not that simple, Logan. Do not give her that much credit. Kirby handled this horribly. She's like, well, I don't know. You like Ferris is like, let's just put our guns down. And she's like, well, you had a rifle. And he's like, well, if I had a rifle, you had a bazooka. The easy answer is yes, we're all going to stick together. You did not have to do all of this, Kirby, because first of all, you were the one trying to take the first shot at Ferris. It was you. It was you first. And you know what? After how you handled this conversation, what do you expect them to do? You expect them to stick together when you just made it very clear? Like, her final answer is like, can we just say yes? And I'm like, that's not you saying yes. That's, can I say yes, just to get you to stop asking?
Exactly.
I would 100% think Kirby's definitely not voting with us.
No. Meanwhile, and I failed to bring it up earlier, this episode, I think, had at least 7 or 8 confessionals of Garrick just being angry. just anger pouring out from every pore of Garrick's skin. Just like, I hate Kirby. I can't stand Kirby. I've wanted to vote out Kirby for weeks. And today, I'm voting out Kirby. And genuinely, when the third confessional of Garrick being angry about Kirby popped up, I was like, so Garrick's going home this episode. Cool. Like, I was like, okay, cool. Garrick's going home. Am I mad at that? No. Not mad at all. But Garrick is like, I hate Kirby. We need to vote out Kirby. Okay. And Eileen is just like, fine, I guess. Like, poor Eileen.
Her hands were tied in this.
True. Well, not really, and we'll talk about it. Because she's playing 5D chess while everyone else is playing 4D chess over here. So, yeah, the Garrick, Ferris, Raymond, and Eileen, to an extent, group decides they're going to vote out Kirby. And the Kirby, Kelly, and Scott group decides that they're going to vote out Garrick. Because, because David of the Shield that Ferris put in front of himself. Yes, I did just do the motion like I'm Mr. Mime.
But why not one of the other 3? It's because of Raymond. Raymond, this is your fault. You right there.
Don't blame Raymond. He's an innocent boy.
Raymond told Kelly, who then definitely
my god,
alluded to Kelly.
This entire scenario also pissed me off because Raymond is trying to go to Kelly in earnest. And it's just like, so are you writing down Kirby? And Kelly's like, can you all just stop? Can you stop? You're doing my head. And I'm like, Raymond has done nothing here, ma'am. Okay? Don't talk to Raymond like that.
Right. He was trying to make sure she wasn't playing her idol for Kirby, which is a big hint that Kirby's getting votes if you don't want her playing her idol for Kirby.
Yeah, Raymond mishandled this. But but also, mind you, in this entire situation of everything, Kelly, no idol. I'm just
Right.
like, God. So
Yeah.
Raymond tells Kelly, Kelly tells Kirby. Kirby decides that because of the shield against Ferris, they're gonna go for his lieutenant.
Yes. Which is the correct phrase, not left lieutenant, as Scott said, which I thought was kind of funny.
I'm like, at least Scott's being the comedic timing here. One of several lanky white people being, comedic relief on this season. And then we go into tribal council and we're like, ooh, what is the minority 3 gonna do? Ooh. And then we go to tribal, where normally there's not much to talk about, but at this tribal, there's a lot to talk about.
They did advertise this as like the tribal, which is, yeah.
So what that tells me is that the rest of the tribals on this season are boring as fuck.
What?
That's what it tells me.
Why?
If they're
Because you thought this
advertising
was boring?
as, no, because I thought this was like fine. This wasn't a blow up. This wasn't a blowout. This wasn't all that dramatic when you look at it in the grand scheme of specifically Australian Survivor tribal councils. This felt honestly incredibly tame.
Oh, I didn't think so. Because we don't normally have alliances being so honest that they've completely fallen apart. Like they're basically saying we're coming after each other and you 3 are making the decision. Like, and they said this is not smoke and mirrors. And there was a lot of calling each other out. So I thought it was very interesting, tribal.
But if they're already billing this as the tribal council, like it's the showdown where neither of the protagonists go home. If you're going to build this as, I thought going into this, one of Kirby or Ferris was going home. No, because I have to make sure that they both make merge because they are providing the storyline, even though you have 3 very clear pairs going against each other on this season.
Yeah.
Which I think is a very nice dynamic, honestly. Like having the Ferris versus Kirby and the Alex versus Kelly and the Caroline versus Mark, I'm very entertained by all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But Kirby calls out, they're like going back and forth. Kirby calls out Ferris and Eileen for wanting to be OG Rebel Strong while throwing her under the bus. And Eileen is like, I did nothing of the sort.
Incorrect.
Not really, though.
Yeah, I think she was more correct.
Eileen was, I would say she was more correct than not, because she wanted everyone to, her ideal scenario was, what was it, Charles going home?
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to vote out Charles. That's what she suggested. And then Kirby, presumably from the edit, didn't go to Eileen, telling Eileen to vote out Ferris. Ferris went to Eileen, saying to vote out Kirby, and she was like, I guess.
I feel like she kind of gave up to where she was like, look, this isn't going to happen. I'll just do whatever the fuck you want at this point.
I feel like she was just trying to get through that vote with as little blood on her hands as possible. And I do think she kind of succeeded in that.
Oh, no, she won. She won.
The winner of this week, Eileen, I would say. In a lot of ways. Garrick is like, but Kirby, you did the same thing. And I love that this whole tribal, Garrick keeps leaning over to either Ferris or Eileen going, I'm going home. I think I'm going home. I really think I'm going home. And at first, Eileen's not believing it. Ferris is definitely not believing it. And then we go to vote. And JLP brings down the urn. And as they had planned earlier, which we didn't talk about, Kirby leans over to Kelly. And Eileen turns right to Ferris and goes, you need to play your idol on Garrick. And
Who'd you
Garrett's
vote
just like,
for?
I'm going home. I'm going home. And Ferris is just sitting there dumbfounded. Like, what? Because this is where I will defend my claim that I think Ferris is playing a very narrow-minded game, because I think Ferris is so focused on what's directly in front of him and what is affecting him that I don't think he's seeing the grand scheme of the people he's working with and the numbers that he does ultimately have on his side. Because Garrick was a very strong number on the side of Ferris. And I think had the move worked and had Kirby gone home here, Eileen would have been locked in on that side too. And I think Raymond would have as well.
That's a lovely 4 against 5, isn't it?
Yes, but we also know that production wants Ferris to go far in this season and will make sure he has an idol at every possible opportunity that he can.
Well, I don't buy into that. But no, I think that the correct move is to not play the idol, because either option, okay, let's say you didn't need to, and the old Titans were voting with you anyways. What did you just show them? You showed them you don't trust them. And then the other way is, okay, you saved somebody on your side, but you're still in a minority and you don't have an idol for the next time. So I don't think it was a great choice to play the idol either way.
But do you really think that Scott, and no disrespect to Scott or Kelly in this scenario, do you really think Scott and Kelly have the strategic prowess at this current moment in time to align then with the OG Titans? I don't see the five of them work. I don't see the five of them working together.
Oh, I absolutely do.
I don't at all.
Yeah. If they knew that that was the block that voted together and the other 4 people voted against their block, yeah. I think you should give them more credit than that, especially Scott. Scott's a big Survivor fan. He's watched it all.
I'm just going off of what I've seen so far, which is quite frankly a strategic under edit from both Scott and Kelly. That's what I'm going off of. I don't know that I didn't know that he was a really big fan. I'm happy to see that now, but like, I'm going off of strategically speaking, we have not really seen anything from Scott or Kelly.
True, but that's a lot of hopes and prayers that you have to have that those people are not going to be able to keep it together as a group of 5, which surely they would.
I honestly think if Kirby gets voted out here, I think that the OG Titan 3 continue to swing back and forth for whatever's convenient for them. I don't think they stick 100% definitively with either side, and they just try to make sure that the 3 of them stay good until merge.
I think there's less motivation to swing to the other side when now you're 3 with 2 others. Why would you swing away from the 2 others that you have and go to these 4 people? Like, that makes no sense.
Larger majority, better numbers come merge.
I think a solid majority with a 4-person line of people that you can pick off. That's much better than jumping over and only being ahead of 2 people in the pecking order.
But do they really trust Kelly? They know how much of a wild card Kelly is.
They all like Kelly. As soon as they came over,
but it doesn't matter if I like Kelly either. I don't know that I strategically trust Kelly if Kirby's not here to tell Kelly everything to do.
I think that you're not giving Kelly as much credit as she deserves as a player or as a person with logic.
I'm just going off of what we've seen strategically from Kelly, because I think socially, and I think as far as the game is concerned, I think Kelly's done a good job of positioning herself, and I think being the wild card and being this like wild character has worked for her so far. However, strategically, what have we seen Kelly do individually within herself that was not motivated by either Kirby or someone else around her?
How about voting out Tobias? That was all her.
Okay. Huh. I forgot he existed. I'm gonna be honest. I forgot about that.
Well, he does have a big X on his face.
There's also the vote out of Nathan, which he single-handedly did.
Okay. Honestly,
that was a joke.
Okay, I know. I think it's 7 episodes in 2 days. I don't know.
True.
I'm just like, I'm not seeing the strategic prowess from Kelly, because right now I'm seeing her fall under anybody else that will pick her up.
I see what you're saying, but I think it would be a mistake for Ferris to underestimate people. He should assume people are going to make the best moves for themselves.
Or hell, if Kirby goes home, I think they scoop up Scott and Kelly and they just vote out the OG Titans. I think that's a plausible reality as well. Because I honestly don't think Scott or Kelly were honestly all that fundamentally against Ferris.
Yeah, but
and I think
if I'm Scott and Kelly and now they're proposing, okay, you want me to work with you, Eileen and Ferris and Garrick and Raymond? Okay, then I'm definitely going to the other three and getting a new majority with them. So I think you just have to assume people are playing the best game that they can.
Okay.
And I think that's why Ferris made a good decision to keep his idol. Because you know what? Ferris is not going home next.
No. He didn't go home here either. Because he doesn't play the idol. And
well,
6
he was
to 3 to
right.
1, Garrett goes home.
And Eileen is immediately like, "Hey, Kirby, let's just go ahead and talk after this because Eileen's done."
Can we talk about the 5? Can we talk about the 5D chess that Eileen is playing here, please? Because we didn't see it until the confessional at the very end, after Garrett gets voted out. Which honestly, very happy to put an X over his face. Didn't care for him. Honestly, didn't care for him. I thought he was just full of hatred. Mm. That's really all I got from Garrick. I didn't find anything else lovely about his character on this show. But what I do find lovely is Eileen putting a vote on Kelly. And she says in her voting confessional, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think the plan is going to work. And if both idols are played, this is plan C. She's operating on plan C.
Yeah. And she did mention it earlier, like when they were talking as a group, she said, I'm going to throw a vote on Kelly just in case idols get played. But yeah, what's interesting is I listened to another podcast and they thought that Eileen handled this poorly at the end, especially telling Kirby, I didn't vote for you. But I thought she handled this so well. I thought she's somebody who's going to jump ship as soon as she sees something is sinking, and I really appreciate it. I compared her on Twitter. I was like, she kind of is giving me like the Sepia and Danny Boatwright vibes in how she's playing, like somebody who's stealthy, but they always know how to maneuver if they're in a situation that's not looking good. They know how to move over and make new friends, and I think that's what she's going to do.
And I would even say a more modern example of that to an extent would be Marianne. I think Marianne was very good about finding where she needed to be, especially in the merge portion of 42. I think she did a very good job of finding where she needed to be to make sure that she was going to be safe. And she had connections, but she made sure to make the moves that she needed to when she needed to. I think Eileen, if she makes it far in this game, I think Eileen is going to be one of those players. Unfortunately, I think Eileen is going to come victim to some bullshit and she's going to be voted out in the absolute dumbest way.
Oh, 100%.
It's probably going to be like a double idol play and someone throws a vote on her because she's like a minor threat and she goes home with like 2 votes. I don't know spoilers for this season. This is like the one show I don't really tend to spoil myself on because I like to be surprised with Survivor in general. But I could just see Eileen, like being as strategic as she is, I could see Eileen going out in some absolutely ludicrous way like that.
David and I talked about this on Twitter, which if you wanted to look at it, is somewhere down there at some point. But
it's on screen right now.
Yeah. There we go. We kind of settled on the fact that she's getting a lilac edit where it's like, it's one step above a purple. She's there, and you can tell that she's there. It's just that if she wasn't there, not much currently changes, at least with the edit that we currently have. And that's really, really annoying because, I mean, I feel like she's going to end up getting really screwed over. This is painting an edit of well, she goes home in a couple days. You don't really need to pay attention to her. She might be the voice of reason, but ignore her. And it is heartbreaking because she's probably the smartest player out there at this point.
Mhm. Yeah, I think she's definitely got some really classic game smarts for Survivor, so I really appreciate that. My worry is that she could be a casualty to the fact that Ferris still has an idol, especially if they want to do a vote split now, that group, their options are Ferris, Eileen, Raymond. I think Raymond still has a decent relationship with Kelly, and so my only worry is that Kirby might be like, oh, yeah, you threw a vote on Kelly, kind of like how I threw a vote on our first tribal council. So I don't know.
I hope not.
Me
But
too.
oh boy, that is that. And we're done here. We'll
Draft
be back.
update
Oh yeah.
that you're not involved in, unfortunately.
I don't have a draft banner. Hold on.
Mhm.
Hold on. Draft update. Ba-dum-bum.
Yes. So it's pretty straightforward and simple. Jack, Lana, and I each drafted 7 people after we watched the first 3 episodes. And then as people get voted out, we're losing people. So unfortunately, Jack is in 3rd place right now with only 4 people left. And then
Yeah.
Lana is in 2nd place. She has 5 people left. And I am leading the draft currently. I have all 7 of my people intact still. It's a miracle.
I'm so annoyed. Like,
You
so
lost 2 in a row.
unbelievably annoyed. Like,
Oh, no.
and I have a feeling that I'm going to be possibly in the worst position when the merge hits, which I'm going to take a gamble here and say is probably after the next set of episodes. If not,
I can almost guarantee it will be not this coming week, but next week.
Yeah, probably episode 13.
It's usually 4 weeks of pre-merge and 4 weeks of merge. That's typically how it's done. So,
although, I mean, once again, this might be noviceness when it comes to Australian Survivor. That is a fucking massive merge. That is
it's 40. It's a 47
11?
day. It's 12 usually, or in this case, I think it'll actually be 13.
Yeah,
it will be
3
13 people.
If 3 people go next, there is chances of a non-elimination episode.
Yeah.
If it's a 14-person merge, I think I just break down because
That's typically how it happens, Jack. Welcome to Australian Survivor.
What?
That's typically how it happens. I will say overall, having looked at all of the teams, I am co-signing onto Team David for the season.
Yay.
Because I like 6 of your people.
Okay. So you like Ferris?
Oh yeah.
You like Raymond? You like Kelly?
Oh yeah.
You like Scott?
Sure.
Valeria. You like Valeria?
And Eden.
Oh, Eden. So you don't like Caroline?
Who? Who? Anyway, we're gonna get out of here, but we'll be back next week, same time, same place. Hopefully, the addition of Alana. That'd be nice. Maybe all 4 of us will be together for a week of coverage. Actually, no. Maybe.
We'll see.
Who knows? But thank you so much for joining us for Australian Survivor this week. Let us know in the comments down below. What did you think of this group of episodes that we had to talk about today? Make sure to subscribe, hit the like, share with your friends, do all those lovely things. Subscribe to both of our other channels as well. If you want to be a member of the channel, hit the join button on our main channel or go to Patreon. Those links will be down below. Also down below is our social media at The Cup Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Our 3 Twitter links will be down there as well. And the link to go get your merch, including but not limited to cup mug, is down there as well. Just go to the description. Look at all the things. Woo. And with that being said, cheers.
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 I have to say it's very wild listening to the intro music at 1.5 speed because it just flies by. It's like, it's very entertaining.
Come to
So.
my life with everything.
Yeah, 2.6 speed. Sure. Goodbye.